Well, good Tuesday morning. Hope everybody is having a great start to the day. A bit of a snowy start for some. That Arctic air squeezing out all that moisture in the atmosphere right now over portions of Springdale. Getting some reports of a little bit of light snow in Fayetteville as well. Nothing major, nothing that's a big deal at all, but it is a sign that we've got some energy moving our way as well. So we do have a lot to discuss in this latest weather live stream. We've also got a lot of uncertainties that we have to fine tune as well, especially for Northwest Arkansas. Now, here's the deal. River Valley, the threat for significant winter weather is much higher than Northwest Arkansas. I cannot stress that enough. River Valley's confidence is quite high that we're going to see accumulated snowfall that will be highly impactful. For Northwest Arkansas, the confidence is lower. There's still that potential, but it is much lower than the River Valley based on the track of the storm system. And I've thought this for a while. If you've been keeping track of the models, if you kind of know this area, you know that was likely going to be the case once all these model runs started coming out. But again, we do have a lot of Arctic air in place. That's why you're seeing some flurry activity in portions of Northwest Arkansas. In fact, I've actually been watching this Decatur camera pretty closely this morning. You can see some of that snow there. Again, dusting, maybe a little bit of snow possible in the parking lot or on the side roads, but it's not going to be anything that really impacts your day. Just make sure you're bundled up because it is very cold over a weather coverage area. There's no doubt about that. And again, you probably might be looking at radar right now thinking, all right, well, why is it snowing in my area even though there's nothing on radar? Well, that's because these flurries and these light snow showers are developing below the radar beam. So they're developing basically at the ground level. So in terms of seeing stuff on radar, you're not going to see it because that snow is not developing in the clouds. It's developing below the radar beam. The radar beam's not picking up on that, and that's why on radar you can't see anything at all. So that's just to give you a little idea of what's going on, a little bit of some scientific knowledge there for you, Mega Doppler. Again, there's nothing right now that's going to impact your day. There's no winter storm warnings or advisories for today. This snow that's been moving through portions of Northwest Arkansas is going to die off really quickly, and we're going to see minimal impacts from that. But I'm already seeing a lot of questions right now. I'm seeing a lot of folks asking about the Fayetteville fizzle. I'm hoping the Fayetteville fizzle happens. Actually, as a matter of fact, because I have to drive in this stuff. Greenland reporting some snow there. Thank you so much, Kinsey. We've got a big fan, Ryan Lemery, one of our storm spotters here at KNWA Fox 24. Ryan, I'm a big fan of yours as well. So thank you. Jeremy, ready for a winter storm in the River Valley. I feel like Northwest Arkansas will go under a winter weather advisory on Wednesday evening. Might be upgraded to a winter storm warning late Thursday. That's kind of what I'm thinking as well right now, Bradley. Let's see here. Are you on the KINX radar instead of KSRX? I am on KSRX right now, Jeremy. I am on KSRX currently. I saw a Texas meteorologist saying the snowfall totals might be lighter. Is that true? Well, Taylor, you're about to find out. Now, here's the deal. For Texas, I have noticed some trends for them where the system might be surging a little bit farther north and east. That would be bad news for them because, well, I mean, I guess bad news in the sense that if you're a snow lover, you're not going to get as much snow, but good news if you don't want snow. So, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. But again, it does look like things might be downtrending just a little bit there. It has been consistent for model to model run, but we'll show you the details here in just a few moments. We're asking about totals in Greenwood, Harrison snow chances, Gentry, X and A. What about school? We need some snow for the sledding. All right. That means it's time to get to the details then, because I see a lot of questions now about that, and let's get right to the latest information. So first of all, here's a look at the latest watches that are in effect, winter weather related. We've got a winter storm watch in effect for areas south of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel starting Thursday at noon and going through Friday at noon. So you can see here the River Valley, pretty much the entirety of the River Valley is included in that winter storm watch. And according to the National Weather Service office, that is for snow accumulations between 3 to 7 inches with the potential for locally higher amounts wherever those heavier snow bands set up. Now, Northwest Arkansas is currently not under that winter storm watch. It's also not under a winter weather advisory. Winter storm watches are released 48 hours from the event, and it's for areas that could be impacted by significant winter weather. winter storm warnings, which a lot of these counties will likely be upgraded to that, will be released tomorrow, and that's for significant winter weather impacts within 24 hours of that. Now, Northwest Arkansas will likely see a winter weather advisory. That's what I'm leaning towards right now. So for Northwest Arkansas, we'll have to keep a close eye on things in terms of the watches, warnings, and advisories. But Northwest Arkansas will likely have a winter weather advisory initially just because the snowfall totals will be a lot lower. Reed, you might be, I think you just joined in the live stream. You said it's snowing in East Springdale, which it's light snow, by the way. Not even in the forecast today. Wasn't supposed to start till Thursday. Well, Reed, that's because Arctic air is in place. And when Arctic air is in place, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this live stream, it's like a wet rag, right? When you're kind of wringing out a wet rag, that's what Arctic air does to the moisture in the atmosphere. Any moisture that's in the atmosphere, it squeezes it out until there's none left. And that's why you get this dry, light snow that's below the radar beam and typically is not forecasted. Again, it's not impactful. It's not going to cause any issues on the roadways. So to me, it's just a bonus snow in Northwest Arkansas, really, in some spots. So let's move on to the more serious matters here. Satellite radar right now, mostly cloudy over our area. But if we take a wider view here, you'll see that low pressure system starting to dive off to the south and east. Again, this is going to be in the Baja region of Mexico. And I called this a few days ago. I said that there would be a lot of uncertainty with the models. The models would probably be all over the place with this piece of energy because it's going to be originated from this area of the continent. Anytime these systems dive off to the south and east into this area right here, this Baja region of Mexico, the models struggle mightily in terms of the timing, the extent, the intensity of the system. So it's really a wild card type of system most of the time until the high resolution data comes out. We still don't have high resolution data out yet. That's not going to happen until tomorrow. The NAM does not count as high resolution data. The NAM by definition is a mid-range model. So there's a lot of talk about the NAM model. I'll show you what it's depicting, but I really think the NAM is out to lunch as it typically is this far out from the event. But this system, in terms of the track of the system, I think confidence is increasing. I think this system is going to track right along the Gulf of Mexico, and it might deviate by about 50 to 75 miles to the north and south. And that deviation is going to determine how much snowfall Northwest Arkansas gets. The River Valley, I am quite confident the River Valley will get impactful snow. Northwest Arkansas will probably still get snow regardless, but how impactful will that be? That is up in the air right now for Northwest Arkansas, which is why a winter storm watch is not in effect for NWA. But again, this system's going to be diving off to the south and east over the next several hours. You can see that here on Future Track. Again, it's going to be right along the Baja region of Mexico and then surge off to the east as we move throughout the next 24 hours or so. Again, a lot of energy to work with here. There's a lot of energy. The question is, how far south of this track? And this is why the track is so important. Because I'm going to go back to water vapor here, and I know we're kind of getting a little bit geeky and a little bit sciencey here, but here's the deal, and I'm going to take all this off screen. Here's the deal: if a system tracks too far to the south, let's say the low pressure system, I'm going to draw low pressure. Let's say the system tracks this far south. The issue is that the extent of the moisture is stunted. So it gets up to, northeast Texas, southern Arkansas, but it doesn't make it all the way up into northwest Arkansas. So what happens is that you get this dry air that intrudes on the snow, and it limits the potential for snowfall in northwest Arkansas. It eats away at it. That's the dreaded dry air that folks always talk about, right? Now, if this low pressure system deviates to the north by, let's say, 50 to 75 miles, well, then that moisture gets drawn farther north. So I'm drawing that right there. You can see that green is depicting the moisture, and the dry air gets surged off to the north and west. So Northwest Arkansas gets more snow. And if that low pressure is in that area too, if the low pressure sets up right there, the River Valley could have a significant snowstorm. You could see some convective banding. So the track of the system does matter quite a bit for Northwest Arkansas. And that is something we're going to have to fine tune over the next 24 hours or so. So if you're wondering about Northwest Arkansas, really it all depends on the track, and that's why you need to take these models with a grain of salt. Having said that, I'm going to go ahead and show one of our in-house models right now. So the model I'm showing here is called the graph model. It is not something that is publicly available. It's only available within the Weather Community graphics. So this model can struggle when it's starting to go out to the long range. So here's a look at what we're kind of depicting with the graph. So this is Thursday morning. The graph has been a little bit quicker in terms of pushing the snow into the area. I think it's a little bit too fast personally because it already has snow arriving in Northwest Arkansas at 11 a.m. Not to say that we couldn't have some flurries or some snow showers around that time, but I think the main event is going to hold off until the late afternoon and early evening hours. But as you can see, temperatures are well below freezing. Now, they are close to freezing in the lower 30s in most spots. So this is going to be a wet snow across our area. Very different than what Northwest Arkansas saw a few days ago when it was that powdery snow, very high snowfall ratios. This is going to be more of a wet snow. So it's going to pile up quickly. And I'm telling you this right now, I am concerned about power outages. If you remember a couple of years ago, we had a significant snowstorm in Northwest Arkansas in 2023. And it caused power outages because that heavy wet snow piles up on those power lines. And so if we get this heavy wet snow in the river valley as well, that could pile up on the power lines and cause power outages, cause power surges. So we do need to keep a close eye on that. That is something that I want to mention because you might be looking at graphics and stuff like that for people saying, oh, very low power outage potential, no ice and stuff like that. Yes, there's not going to be ice, but there is going to be the potential for power outages with that heavy wet snow piling up. So again, we're going to have to keep a close eye on that here in Northwest Arkansas. Well, in the River Valley. Northwest Arkansas, it's still up in the air. But look at this. This is the graph. Again, this is just one model, but you can see how the dry air is really killing the snow potential in Northwest Arkansas. It's a little bit more scattered in nature according to the graph. It's not as heavy as what the River Valley is seeing. And as you can see, even in the River Valley, some dry air is trying to make its way in on the graph. So it's showing a more southerly extent of the moisture. The moisture is more to the south rather than to the north. And that's kind of holding off the snow potential for far northwestern Arkansas. And then it's kind of dissipating as we move throughout Thursday night and Friday morning. Now, the graph, again, does have a tendency to do this. It tends to push these systems out so much quicker, way too quickly. So I'm taking this with a grain of salt right now. It's moving the snow out too quick, I think. And I think it might be a little bit out to lunch on that front. But it does depict the scenario where dry air kind of wins out. So we do have to keep a close eye on that. Now, another thing I'm going to show you here, if I'm going to get to it right now, is 4 different computer models showing snowfall forecasts over the next 3 days. Now, some of them do not go out far enough. So it's still going to have to get some more details in. But it does give you kind of a good idea of what's going on. So stand by for just 1 second. As I pull that up, it's going to take just a little bit to get it up here. But once I do, you'll be able to see everything. But again, when we're talking about snow, we have to look at the ratio of the snow. We have to see the track of the system, as I just mentioned, and the overall intensity and that convective banding potential. Oh my goodness, the graphics are messing up right now. So just stand by for 1 second. I'm going to try to answer a few questions here that I see while I try to pull this up. Let's see. NWS in Little Rock says 3 to 4 inches for Northwest Arkansas. So who knows what will happen? I mean, really, that's the case right now, Dylan. I mean, right now I'm forecasting 1 to 3 inches for Northwest Arkansas. But there is the potential for that to go up. If we get a little bit more high resolution data in, if that system is starting to track a little bit farther to the north, then there will be the potential for a higher end snowfall over Northwest Arkansas. But again, it's very fine lines. There's a thin line between the haves and the have-nots. And of course, Northwest Arkansas is right smack dab in the middle of that. Here it is. Here's the graphic I was going to show you. So we're going to move that out of the way. Thank you so much, Dylan, for that comment. So this is 4 different computer models depictions on what could go down over the next 3 days. Now, the graph, as I just mentioned, has the heavier snowfall off to our south. So as you can see, it's only showing about an inch or 2 over our area. I think this is a little bit underdone, especially for the River Valley. But if we have a lot of dry air in place and the system takes a more southerly track, this is what will happen. And again, this is also at a 10-to-1 snow ratio as well. So what I mean by snow ratios is depending on how warm the temperature is, that can favor a lower ratio. So we're talking like 8-to-1, 6-to-1 in some spots. And that means the liquid equivalent is a lot lower as well. Whereas a 20-to-1 ratio, which was kind of what we saw a few days ago, that's that powdery snow, and that tends to pile up a little bit quicker. So just to give you a little bit of details on what exactly we're looking at here. European model, I don't think this one goes far out enough. So we're going to kind of ignore that one. GFS, I know, does. It's showing about an inch or so over northwest Arkansas, higher amounts in the river valley. And then the NAM, which is making rounds right now on social media, the NAM has nothing at all. I mean, the NAM has nothing over northwest Arkansas in the river valley. I am talking not a single snowflake, maybe a few flurries, but it doesn't even have much over central Arkansas as well. And it's making some rounds around social media right now. But again, the NAM struggles this far out. So kind of take this one with a grain of salt. It's going to go back and forth in terms of total snowfall. But the point is that if the farther south it needs to go, the more likely you are to run into significant snowfall. And I think the best model to depict this is the European model. Now, this is not a forecast. This is just guidance. So take this with a grain of salt as well. But it gives you a general idea of where the heaviest snowfall is going to set up. So again, ignore the snowfall totals. Just ignore the snowfall totals. Pretend like they're not there. Just look at the colors. Northwest Arkansas, Southwest Missouri, much lighter snowfall totals. You get farther south and east, and those snowfall totals get much higher. That is going to be the case with this storm system, I think. Regardless if it takes a more northerly track, I think the river valley and areas south are going to get much more snow than northwest Arkansas. Having said that, this is one model's depiction on what could go down. It's showing heavy snowfall, but it is certainly something we'll watch very closely. All right, we're asking about timing now, so this is a good question as well, Craig. So I'm going to show you two different computer models here. I'm not going to show the NAM. I refuse to show that model right now at this time frame. There's just nothing productive with it right now to even show anything. So we're going to show the European and the GFS model. Now, as I just mentioned, the European model, if you watch the forecast this morning, has a more southerly track. The low pressure system, at least the center of it, is off screen here. So it's located over southern Louisiana, and the moisture is struggling to make its way north. So if the European model's depiction does indeed come to fruition, northwest Arkansas and southwest Missouri would see lighter snowfall totals. The river valley would see moderate snow. And then a little bit farther south towards Dallas, southwestern Arkansas, western Mississippi, these areas would get what's called the cold air conveyor belt. And that means that convective banding would develop, and they would get extremely heavy snowfall rates. Extremely heavy snowfall rates. You get this big wet snow, big time gorilla flakes in southwestern Arkansas, and it would just miss the river valley. The river valley would still get about 2 to 5 inches in this scenario. Northwest Arkansas, probably around 1 to 2 inches in most spots. But the heaviest snow would stay just south of our weather coverage area. So this is the European model's depiction. It's also a little bit faster with the snow. It moves it out a little bit quicker. And by the time we get to Saturday morning, all of it's out of the area. Now, the GFS model, the American model, is a little bit farther north with that track. So the center of the low is, and I'm talking, it's like 50 miles to the north of the track of the European, but it does make a big difference. And so now you're starting to get that convective banding in portions of the river valley. Northwest Arkansas, moderate snow. So that would adjust the snowfall totals a little bit. The river valley would probably get that 3 to 7 inch amount that you're seeing with the winter storm watch, while Northwest Arkansas would get right around 2 to 4 inches. So that's what we're looking at. There's two kind of setups here. Again, the track of the low pressure system, I'm telling you right now, if you live in Northwest Arkansas, and this is a good question by Mitchell, any chance in the world that system surges farther north and Northwest Arkansas gets higher totals? There's a chance it does. But Mitchell, the thing about this system is that because it's tracking along the Gulf of Mexico, it automatically does not favor a huge winter storm over Northwest Arkansas. You can get snowfall, you can get accumulated snow, and it can cause travel problems. But anytime that system takes this track, I'm gonna move your comment out of the way, but I'm still talking about it. Anytime the system takes this track, typically never means a big snow for Northwest Arkansas. Now, that's a different story in the River Valley and Central and Southern Arkansas. That's how they get their big snows. But for Northwest Arkansas to get a big snow, that system has to go right along the Red River and then surge off to the north and east so we don't get that dry slot. That's how you get convective banding in Northwest Arkansas. As a matter of fact, I can actually do this to make it even better, to show you kind of a visual aid here. So this blue line that I'm going to show here, if it will pull up here, it's kind of hidden on the map. Here, hold on. I'm going to do this. I don't know why it's doing that on the map. It's supposed to show up a little bit better. I'll do it on water vapor here. So I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to go back over here to Northwest Arkansas. So the ideal track, and this is going to be represented by this blue line, the ideal track of a storm system is to not dive into the Baja region of Mexico and then surge right along the Red River, just south of the Red River, and then surge off to the north and east. This is the most ideal track for significant snowfall in Northwest Arkansas. Now, this line that I'm about to draw is the most ideal track for significant snow in the River Valley, a system that dives a little bit farther south and then surges north and east as it moves through central Louisiana. That's how you get more snow in the River Valley. So the blue line again, that's the most ideal setup for a significant Northwest Arkansas event. This orange line is a line that depicts more of a River Valley, central southern Arkansas event. So this is kind of what we're looking at right now. More of that orange line, more of a setup that allows the River Valley to get more snow. So I'm seeing some comments on here that are making me laugh. Some of them I cannot show on here because they have some language to them, but I mean, I do agree on some of these comments, so they are pretty funny. Here's a good question from Jeremy. How many inches of this wet snow will we need to start causing power trouble? So that is a really good question, and I actually have a graphic for that, Jeremy. So stand by for 1 second as I pull that up. But I'm gonna answer your question in just a minute, Jeremy, as I try to pull up this graphic here. But let's see here. You need to talk about now in Springdale. 71B is a mess. Well, let's see what's going on near Springdale right now, because I'm not seeing a whole lot on iDrive Arkansas. I'm looking at 71B right now. Let's go a little bit farther to the north here. I'm trying to pull up iDrive Arkansas cameras. I'm not really seeing much there. Leah, let me look here. Again, I'm going to pull this camera up so that you can see what I'm seeing. There is a little bit of snow going on there for sure. You can see it kind of on the side of the road, but it's not accumulating on the roadways. That's because it's that powdery snow, so it kind of blows off the road really easily. This is near Springdale, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of snow there. It looks very light if there's any at this time, but we'll keep a close eye on it. So Bradley's going to send me some pictures as well. Really appreciate that, Bradley. Anytime Northwest Arkansas gets 2 inches or more, it's most definitely going to cause travel problems, and there's no doubt about it. I mean, that definitely is something that we keep an eye on as well, Bradley. I'm not saying Northwest Arkansas will not get any impact from the system. I think it will for sure, but it's not going to be the biggest snowstorm we've ever seen in Northwest Arkansas. So here's a look at the question that Jeremy was asking about, and this is why we're a little bit more concerned about this particular type of snow. So these are the 3 different types of snow, and each type has a weight to it. So fluffy snow, kind of a 15-to-1 liquid to snow ratio, or snow to liquid ratio equivalent. That kind of snow doesn't have as much weight per square foot. So as you can see, the fluffy snow has about 4.1 pounds per square foot in terms of weight, 6.2 pounds of snow per square foot for normal snow, which is a 10-to-1 ratio. And then wet snow, 5-to-1 ratio, you can see that the ratio is a lot higher. So fluffy snow has the least amount of weight. Normal snow, it's a little bit higher in. And then wet snow, you can see has the most weight to it. So the kind of snow that we're going to see in Northwest Arkansas in the River Valley, more so in the River Valley, is in between that wet to normal snow. So as you can see here, and Jess, I know, but people are asking questions, so I'm going to show people, the questions that they ask. In terms of the type of snow that we're going to see with this particular system, we're favoring more of a wet snow across our area, so it has more weight to it. It also tends to pile up on power lines. It can power up on roofs a little bit easier, and that's why we are concerned about power outage situations. So, Jeremy, you were asking about how much snow it takes. in order to cause issues with power, typically you need about 4+ inches of snow because that's all going to power up the power lines. That's going to weigh them down a little bit, and then you can start seeing those power issues. So I see a couple folks asking here about conditions right now. Again, I think conditions are looking pretty fine on the roadways. I don't think there's any issues at all in terms of snowfall on the roadways. Just getting in. What about Bentonville? Michael's asking about that. Let's see here. So Michael's saying about Bentonville. Bentonville, Michael, a little bit farther to the north. So the farther north and west you go, the least likely you are to see significant snow. So we're taking a look at that right here. You can see the winter storm watch is in effect for the River Valley along and south of Interstate 40, far northwestern Arkansas. Not under a winter storm watch right now, Michael, but I do anticipate them to be under a winter weather advisory. So just make sure you're staying weather aware. We're going to have updates on that tomorrow. We're not going to officially get that in northwest Arkansas until tomorrow. So just keep a close eye on it. So if it's between the normal and wet, would you put it around, say, a 7-to-1 ratio or close to that 5-to-1 ratio? So Joshua, I would put it more around an 8-to-1 ratio, I think, in the River Valley, northwest Arkansas, about as 10-to-1 as it gets, I think, for northwest Arkansas. Still going to keep my fingers crossed to see a good snow in Fayetteville with this system. And Sean, there's still potential. There's still potential. And I still think it's going to snow in northwest Arkansas. But I just don't think it's going to be as impactful as what we're going to see in the River Valley. So more folks asking about snow on the roadways. So let's look at Highway 412 right now. Let's look at Highway 412 and see what's going on here. So this is Highway 412 near the Illinois River. This is just off to the east of Siloam Springs. Not seeing anything there. Do see some snow flurries though occurring on that. Let's go over here a little bit farther to the east. This is near Beaver Lake. So this is just off to the east of Springdale. Not seeing any snow there right now. A few light snowflakes going on there, just off to the east of Springdale. And let's look at one more camera. Let's look in between both of those to kind of get it all covered. Sunset Avenue, 71, exit 71. Not seeing a whole lot there. I can see a little bit of light accumulation on the side of the roads, but yeah, it just doesn't look like it's widespread right now over our area. So yeah, we'll keep a close eye on it, but not seeing any impacts on iDrive Arkansas. So we'll keep a close eye on it, guys. But again, this snow that's moving through right now is very light and shouldn't cause a whole lot of issues there. So let's go back here to the future track. If people are just tuning in, let's go ahead and take a look at the time. And again, I do think the majority of the snow is going to come through starting Thursday afternoon and then continuing into the overnight hours. Let's see here. What is going on in Springdale right now? 412 and Don Tyson, several wrecks and ice on the road. Is there several wrecks? Because I'm not seeing it on iDrive Arkansas right now, guys. If somebody can send me some pictures of the wrecks or anything that are going on, I don't see any ice on the roads right now, at least on Highway 412 and I-49. I looked through some of those cameras there. I mean, I'm looking here, though. Let me go back here. I want to make sure everybody is informed. So let's just kind of go through some of the cameras here. Is it on the main roads or is it on the side roads right now? So let's go back to Interstate 49. This is near Stephen Carr Boulevard. Not seeing anything there right now. That's just off to the north of Fayetteville. Here's Razorback Road. Not seeing any accumulation there along Razorback Road. Usually iDrive Arkansas will have impact report on there. But Highway 412 points south is hazardous. That's what Bradley is saying. So light snow moving through the area right now. Let's look at some of our WeatherBug network cameras as well. I mean, none of these iDrive Arkansas cameras are showing anything. So let's go back to the Fulbright camera here. Let's go to Bentonville Square. Not seeing anything there. I don't think there's anything in Bentonville. Not getting any reports there. There's Decatur. Decatur got a little quick burst of snow. Okay, by the Children's Hospital. So we have a camera by the Children's Hospital. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Yeah, here's the Children's Hospital camera right here, Lisa. And I see a little bit of accumulation on the rooftop, but otherwise, I'm not seeing anything on the roadways there right now. Yeah, I mean that's a good point right there, Katie. I mean, accidents are really common. I mean, I'm just not seeing anything on the roadways right now, at least on the major interstates and highways. Um, let's see here. Nothing in Springdale, to be honest. So, I mean, I'm getting conflicting reports right now. And again, this is what happens when we have these little light snows in our area. Some areas get a little quick burst of snow, other areas don't. And sometimes those little light bursts of snow, they can cause some impacts to some folks, in those areas because it's kind of a surprise. It's kind of a shock. So sometimes people can go a little bit too fast on the roadways and slide out of control. But I think some areas are getting snow right now, other areas are not. Regardless, if it is snowing in your area right now, go ahead and send in some pictures first of all. And I assure you, it's going to end very quickly. It's going to be like a quick little burst of snow. In fact, we might be seeing some of it coming across our Springdale Children's Hospital cameras. So we're taking a look at that right now. You can kind of see these low-hanging clouds. That might be a little burst of snow trying to move in at this time. Still snowing at Tyson, says Seth. Let's see here. How is this not just Tuesday in Springdale? So yeah, I mean, some people are getting snow right now. Some people are not. Some people watch the bread aisle. So, you're right about that. Are we expecting to have any increased travel impacts from this upcoming snow in the Fayetteville area? So many different rumors about this storm going around the social media grapevine. Looks like it may stay further south for the bigger impacts. And Bethany, we're still trying to figure that out as well. Hey, by the way, Chris, is it snowing outside right now? Here in Flurries? Yeah. So flurries in Fayetteville right now. So Bethany was asking about increased travel impacts. So Bethany, again, it just kind of depends on the track of the system. We're still fine tuning that forecast right now based on the latest model data. I do think the higher end impacts will be in the River Valley, but Northwest Arkansas will also have the potential for snow, and it will accumulate, and it will cause problems on the roadways. So right now for Northwest Arkansas, maybe not a full-on winter storm, maybe not reaching that criteria of 4 inches or more, but it will still cause issues if there's 1 to 3 inches of wet snow. But the River Valley looks like it will be the main focus for the most significant snowfall. So here's a good question from Edward, and I'm going to do this again here, Edward, because I think it is a good kind of visualization of how we get bigger snow events in Northwest Arkansas. So I'm gonna move both of these kind of graphics out of the way here, and then I'm gonna show you this. So in order to get a big snow in Northwest Arkansas, you have to have this system dig in, get towards Arizona and New Mexico, and then eject to the east along the Red River, and then dive north and east through Arkansas. That is the most ideal path for significant snow in Northwest Arkansas. Now, the River Valley, it deviates just a little bit. It takes a very similar track initially, and then it dives farther south and then kind of moves north and east along the Gulf of Mexico. That's how you get the greatest snowfall potential in the River Valley. So that's kind of two different setups. And the setup that we're going to see is this southerly track. So this also allows snow to happen in Northwest Arkansas, but it tends to favor heavier snow in central and southern areas of the state. Let's see here. So again, that's kind of two different scenarios. And I hope that kind of illustrates to you, Edward, how it kind of works in Northwest Arkansas. Now, if this setup jogs a little bit farther to the north and east, that will bring more snow to Northwest Arkansas for sure. It's still not the most ideal track for significant snowfall, but it would bring more snow potential in Northwest Arkansas. So that's what we're looking at right now for Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. So it's going to be mostly in the River Valley. It just keeps skipping us this year. And Danny, we got plenty of time in the winter. And again, it's been a while since the River Valley has gotten favored for a big snow. So I think it's their time to shine right now, to be honest with you. And I know a lot of folks in the River Valley and, a lot of folks in Texas are excited too. Now, some of the trends have been towards less snow in Texas over the last several runs. But I'll tell you, I have a niece and nephew who lives in northern Texas. They've lived in northern Texas their whole life. and they are ecstatic about the potential for a significant snowfall there because this might be the most snow they ever see in their young lives. So, I know a lot of folks are very excited right now in central and southern portions of the state. We'll keep an eye on it for Northwest Arkansas as well. Again, I still think there will be snow in Northwest Arkansas. I think there's no question there will be at least some in some form or fashion. But in terms of significant snowfall over our weather coverage area, that's looking unlikely at this time. But we'll continue to keep an eye on it. It's not set in stone right now. Do we think possible power outages in Northwest Arkansas? I want to get my blankets washed and flashlight equipped with batteries if we think there's a possibility. Better safe than sorry. So, Kinsey, I would go ahead and do that no matter what. It's always good to be prepared. It's always good to over-prepare, just in case, in my opinion, that the event happens. That way you're going to be very happy if it does overproduce. And now's the time to go ahead and do that as well. But in terms of power outages in Northwest Arkansas, I don't think that's going to be as much of a concern with this system. I think it's going to be more along and south of Interstate 40. But again, it just kind of depends on where exactly the track of that system is. So let's take a look at the 7-day forecast because Rena wants to see if there's going to be a warm-up anytime soon. And unfortunately, it's not looking like it's going to warm up a whole lot, at least in the short term. Here's a look at the forecast for Northwest Arkansas. High temperatures staying in the 30s over the next 7 days. Overnight lows also in the teens and 20s. So definitely going to be pretty cold in Northwest Arkansas as we move throughout the next several days. And I do want to mention one thing about the 7-day forecast here. You see the temperatures that are upcoming for Saturday and Sunday. Those will be colder if there is a snowpack on the ground for Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. So take these temperatures with a grain of salt here. Of course, in the River Valley, snowfall chance is much higher, sitting at 80%. I'm going to have to lower this temperature. It's going to be below freezing, I think, throughout the entire event, Thursday into Friday. Overnight lows will be in the lower to middle 20s, and then maybe a small warming trend coming up beyond the scope of the 7-day forecast. Also, keep an eye on Sunday. Might be some snow flurries or some snow showers across our area there, so we'll keep a close eye on that. Let's see here. I'm happy it's not going to be much for Northwest Arkansas. Going to Tulsa on Saturday morning. So, I mean, Seth, here's the deal. I mean, as somebody who, because I live in Bella Vista, and I have to stay in a hotel every time we have snowfall in Northwest Arkansas. So I get it. I'm not the biggest fan of snow myself. I used to be, but now that I actually have to work for a living, I'm not as big of a fan of it personally, but I am excited for the people who like snow. I'm not going to rain on anybody's parade when it comes to people being excited for snow. That's for sure. Let's see here. Make sure, everyone, that your vehicle does have antifreeze and fluids just in case. Very good mention right there from Joshua. Bradley, I'm looking right now on social media. So you said he sent me some stuff here. So I'm going to take a look at that real quick. Sent some pics from 412 East near Turner Street in Springdale, East 412. Blocked at the railroad crossing. So here's the picture that Bradley just sent me right there. So good job covering up the license plates as well. So here's another picture. This is near 412. This is from Bradley. So as you can see, some snowfall accumulation on the side roads there. So you got some snow accumulation on the side roads. You can see folks traveling on that. Hopefully they're taking it nice and easy there because there is a little bit of accumulation on the side roads. But here's the deal. That type of snow is that powdery snow. It's very, very fluffy. So a lot of times that kind of blows across the road. It's also not nearly as icy or as slick as, let's say, a wet snow would be. So it typically doesn't cause as many issues on the roadways. So thank you so much, Bradley, for sending that in. And I really appreciate you giving me an update on there. Dakota, I need snow. It helps me make some money. Like it right there. Oh, Brian says his 9-year-old is offering to shovel driveways for a great price, $600 an hour. Yeah, that's a good price right there, Brian. Let me go ahead and get my wallet. That's about as much as I make every 2 weeks. Timmy Payne, good morning. I'm looking for good news on the weather. Well, hopefully, Timmy, if you live in Northwest Arkansas, you're excited about that. Let's pretend that Vegas called and wanted an over-under. Ooh. I like this comment from Craig. This is interesting right here. An over-under for snow totals in Fayetteville. Where do you put the betting line? Let's set the betting line for Fayetteville, Craig, at 2.5. Let's go over-under 2.5. And you know what? I'm going to set the line at that right now, and I'm going to post that in the comments. Over-under snowfall, 2.5 in Fayetteville. And I want everybody who's watching right now, if you have the ability to comment, to tell me if you think it's going to be over and under this total. And I'm actually going to go back to this after the event's over. And I want to see how many people were right on this. So as many people as possible, start commenting in the comment section right now. And I'm going to pull up the comment I just had. Over under 2.5 inches of snow in Fayetteville. And I want to see how many people end up right. Let's test knowledge. Now, me personally, what do I want to do here? I set a hard line for myself. I'm going to go with over. I'll go with over. And the reason why I'm going to go with over is simply because this system is originating from the Baja region of Mexico, and it always throws curveballs at us. So I'm going to go with over. So we got a lot of comments that are coming in right now. We got a lot of overs. We got all caps overs from Amanda. She's very confident. I'm just going slightly over here. Dylan going with the under. I'm just going to get to as many of these as possible. April says over. Danny's about the under life. Craig says under. Madison says over. Laura, because of the Fayetteville fizzle and the Colby effect as well. I get that. Over. Rena going with an exact guess, 2.1 inches of snow. I'm going to go traveling to Jonesboro Friday evening. Will it be bad driving down 49 crossing Beebe and Conway? Could be a little bit dicey there for your travels, Janice. I hope I said your name right, by the way. Let me know if I didn't say your name right. I do struggle sometimes with names, but I want to make sure I'm getting your name right. But I do think that could be a little bit dicey Friday evening because, again, there's going to be the threat for significant snowfall in portions of central Arkansas, especially as you head towards Beebe and Conway and you're heading towards Jonesboro. That could be a little bit dicey, as you can see here on Future Track. So, yeah, that might want to delay travel just a little bit. Maybe delay it till Saturday, see how the road conditions are looking, but it still could be dicey Friday evening on those roadways there in central and northeast Arkansas. In fact, I do think it will be dicey in those areas for sure. Let's see here. Dry slot under. I get that. That will be the reason why we get under in terms of snowfall in northwest Arkansas. Rena going with an exact prediction, 2.1 inches of snow. Says Rena, 2.1 inches. So I like the exact predictions. Let's see here. What's Benton Little Rock looking like, Eric? This might be your system, Eric. This might be your system because central and southern Arkansas and Benton area, Little Rock area, it does look like that there will be quite a bit of snow in those areas. And significant snowfall as well. 3 to 7 inches can't be ruled out in those spots with maybe some locally higher amounts. Over, Josh, do dogs like snow boots? You know what? I got to get some boots for Harper. Though Harper's got a lot of fur on her, so maybe for Harper, I'm going to just kind of let her test it, and then if she needs some boots, I'll give them to her. Well, Audrey, if you just joined, we do know that it's snowing there in Fayetteville today. We've been keeping an eye on it. I've been getting some pictures in. I've been showing some pictures. I'm going to show Bradley's picture again. This is Highway 412. I'm going to pull this up here. This is Highway 412. This was sent in from Bradley just a few moments ago. You can see some snow accumulating there, but again, it's that fluffy snow with a very high snow ratio, so it's not as impactful to travel. But I'm going to go ahead and retweet that there, so it's on my social media account. You can see traffic flowing pretty well here in his video that he sent as well. So that's Bradley's video from Springdale. So again, some light snow moving through the area, and again, not showing up on Mega Doppler because the snow is falling below the radar beam. So very similar to what we saw a few days ago. And then there's some people who are not even getting snow at all right now because it's very light and it's all over the place. Yeah, there's some light snow in portions of Fayetteville. Yeah, Brian, go ahead and send that to me. I bet there's not a whole lot. I don't mind seeing some snow. Same here. Ooh. Mark says, are we cracking out the 8-ball? You know what, Mark? I think we're going to have to do that right now. So stand by. I'm going to sound distant for a minute because I'm the only one here. I'm trying to manage 100 different things at once. But let me pull out the 8-ball right now. And we're going to take a look at at what the 8 ball says in terms of snowfall? Because that is a good question. So hold on just 1 second here. I'm going to try to pull it out. We'll see what it has to say. Oh, there it is. And we haven't used the 8 ball in a while for Northwest Arkansas in the River Valley. So, all right. Let's see here. So we're gonna start easy here. Over under 2.5 inches of snow. Are we gonna get over 2.5 inches of snow in Fayetteville? That's gonna be the first question we ask because there's a lot of folks asking about that. So the 8 ball says, don't count on it. Wow. The 8 ball says don't count on it for over 2.5 inches of snow in Northwest Arkansas. Wow. The 8 ball coming in swinging because sometimes it says ask again. All right, let's ask the 8 ball if it's going to snow at all in Northwest Arkansas. Is the NAM going to win out? Is it going to snow at all in Northwest Arkansas Thursday night into Friday? And the 8 ball says, reply hazy, try again. All right, we'll try one more time here. Is it going to snow in Northwest Arkansas? Yeah, try it again. It was just warming up. Yeah, exactly. We haven't used the 8 ball in a while, so I'm going to turn on some more light here because I can barely see this thing. Don't count on it again. Don't count on it again. It says don't count on it to see any snow at all in Northwest Arkansas. That's crazy. That is crazy. All right, maybe we don't need to use the 8 ball anymore because it's not giving people good news. I know a lot of you guys really want snow in Northwest Arkansas, and it's not giving good news for Northwest Arkansas. Look, the 8 ball can sometimes cook. Other times it can be completely off base. So we're going to go ahead and retire the 8 ball for the rest of the morning hours. We've had light snow in Johnson and Springdale all morning, not in the forecast. I mean, Bill, again, that's what happens when you got Arctic air in place. So the Arctic air can squeeze out that moisture and cause some light snow. But right now, not really widespread, as the comment section has proven so far this morning. A lot of the folks in the comment section either saying they've got snow. Some people are saying what snow. Others are saying that there's some accidents going on. I can't see those on iDrive Arkansas right now, and I'll show you what I mean. If I go here to Weather 1 and I go to our iDrive Arkansas source, typically if there's an accident, iDrive Arkansas will have a impact report on there. So like you'll be able to click on it and see the accident. And there's no accidents right now in the state of Arkansas, according to iDrive Arkansas. So it's not showing any of these incident reports. But if you can see here, that little exclamation mark on iDrive Arkansas, that's usually where there's an accident in place. So I'm not seeing that. I've also got the winter weather highlight on, so it shows you if there's any snow or ice patches on the road, and it's also not showing that, at least on the major interstates and highways. So here's a good question from AG. So how do I see snow when it's not on the radar? So we kind of talked about that a little bit this morning. It's a great question. So if you're just tuning in, basically what's happening right now is that the snow is developing below the radar beam. So the radar beam, it goes around in a circle, right? From wherever the source is, it goes around in a circle like this, right? And it scans what's going on. And as it moves up, as the radar beam gets farther away from the radar source, that beam gets higher and higher and higher up into the sky, right? So as it gets farther away from the radar, the potential to see that snow at the lowest level, which is where the snow is developing right now, the snow is developing very close to the surface in Northwest Arkansas at this time. You're not seeing it on radar because the radar beam is not picking up on that. It's not able to scan what's going on at the lowest level right now because it's too far away. So this is the Tulsa radar, and obviously the Tulsa radar is not showing anything. If we go to the Fort Smith radar, let's see if the Fort Smith radar is showing something, because we're kind of going back and forth on the Fort Smith and Tulsa radars. So Tulsa radar not showing anything. Fort Smith radar about to load up. And as you can see, not really showing anything in Northwest Arkansas as well, because the radar beam, the radar is originating here. It's originating all the way down here in just south of Fort Smith. And then as you move away from the radar, the beam gets higher and higher up. So in Fayetteville, the beam is 4,284 feet up. So it's developing below that point, the snow is, that you're seeing in Fayetteville. Bentonville, it's 6,491 feet up. That's how high up the radar beam is. So again, if you're seeing any snow in Benton County, it's because it's developing below the radar beam. So I hope that kind of gives you a general idea of why we're not seeing snow show up on radar. Let's see. Only Mother Nature knows about the weather. Yeah, pretty much. It's tough. It is so tough. Curvature of the earth. The snow is below the radar. Exactly, James. North side of Fayetteville, roads are slick. That's according to Lloyd right now. So, man, not one WeatherBug Network camera can show the snow. Like, not one. I've looked at every single WeatherBug Network camera. Okay, this camera is showing flurries over the Graduate Hotel camera. So that's a change of pace. I'm actually seeing something on the camera. Mount Sequoia, you can kind of see, where areas where that moisture is right now. You can kind of see where there might be some areas of flurries or some light snow. Let's see. Posey Mountain had a little bit of snow accumulation. There you go. A little bit of snow accumulation there over the Posey Mountain camera in Garfield. Let's see. Let's go to Springdale, Northwest Arkansas Children's Hospital. Not seeing anything else there. Bentonville Square, not showing anything there. Decatur had a little bit of light snow earlier that I did see. You can see some of that accumulation there in Decatur. And let's see, one more camera. Let's look at the Alma camera. Some folks were reporting that there was snow in Alma. So maybe some flurries going on in Alma as well. But I'm just not seeing anything on the cameras. It makes it so hard. Like, I want to see what's going on in these areas, but I don't have any view of it. So that's what happens with like little snow events like these, because it's so isolated and scattered about. Some areas are getting snow, other areas are not. It's so hard to sometimes see them on camera. So I apologize for folks and everything. I wish I could see things. Just tag me on social media. I'll be able to show them. I had Bradley send me some stuff earlier I was able to see. So just tag me on social media or send in a photo to weather@knwa.com. That way I can get a look at any snow that we're potentially seeing. I'm going to look on my messenger too to make sure nobody sent me anything else. But let's see here. I'm not seeing anything else right now on my social media. So just again, if you're seeing snow in our area, just let me know. Send some pictures in to weather@knwa.com over email, or send me a message on Facebook, and I'll be able to see that, and then I can show them real quick on the phone. I need the snow because the crunching sound is one of my favorite noises ever. Yeah, it is pretty satisfying when we get that. That is for sure. I live near Russellville, Arkansas, and I'm wondering what my area should expect for Thursday and Friday. What is the timing looking like? Should I jump on the bandwagon like everyone else and get milk and bread? I lived in upstate New York for 9 years, and all this is kind of funny to me, but I would really like to know what to expect. So thank you, Amber, for tuning in. Russellville is just outside of our weather coverage area, but I can tell you that Russellville will have a tendency to potentially see some higher end snowfall totals. It is under a winter storm watch right now. I'm going to go ahead and move myself out of the way. If I zoom in here on Russellville, you'll see that Russellville is currently under that winter storm watch at this time. So the winter storm watch is in effect from Thursday at 12 p.m. through Friday at 12 p.m. So snowfall accumulations from 3 to 7 inches possible. There could be some locally higher amounts as well. We're still trying to fine tune the forecast. We have not released an official projection, at least here in the Weather Lab, though that will come later today from Dan, I'm sure, because Dan's back in town. But right now, the confidence is still a little bit low in Northwest Arkansas. There's a variety of different scenarios that could happen. But for the Russellville area, for the River Valley, there will be a tendency to see more snow with this system. I think you can kind of see that here on Future Track. Notice how the bulk of the snowfall is located just off to the south and east of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel, favoring portions of central and southern Arkansas. The GFS model, I think, is a little bit more aggressive. It could also be because this is a lower res model, so it's a little bit more widespread. But again, as you can see, the River Valley has a tendency to see heavier snowfall rates with the GFS, and Northwest Arkansas may get a little bit more snow, according to the GFS as well, with the more northerly track. But I think there's potential for snowman level accumulation in Rogers. But Barbara, it's much more uncertain in Rogers. I'm going to actually kind of just show you this with a little pointer. If you live north of this line that I'm drawing out here, this imaginary line, the uncertainty is quite high with this storm system, meaning that there's a lot of things still to fine tune for Northwest Arkansas. If you're south of that line, especially along and south of Interstate 40, I think you're definitely going to see some snowmen. Let's just say that. I think you're definitely going to see some snowmen. What model tends to forecast best for winter storms in Northwest Arkansas? So, Shannon, as you know, models are guidance, so they're not forecasts. So everything that you're seeing here is a model. This is guidance. This kind of gives us a general idea of what's going on. But in terms of the best model, I do think that the NAM 3 kilometer, not the NAM 12 kilometer, which is going around social media, I do think the NAM 3 kilometer does a pretty good job depicting winter weather events. It does a good job with borderline freezing winter weather events, especially. Now, this system will be right around freezing throughout the majority of the event, especially in the river valley, though temperatures will be dropping off during the overnight hours, so obviously it will drop below freezing. So the NAM 3 kilometer may not be the best one with this system just because it's not a borderline freezing event. The HRRR, which is the high resolution rapid refresh model, is about as high res as you can get. It's a very good model as well, I think. But none of them are perfect, and none of them are going to do a great job with dissecting the smallest details of a system. And they sure are not going to do a great job in terms of depicting the exact track of the system, because remember, the track of the system is going to mean everything for snowfall totals in Northwest Arkansas, which is why we have much higher confidence in the river valley, because even if that system lifts 50 to 100 miles to the north, well, the river valley is still going to get even higher end impacts from the system. If it drops 50 to 100 miles to the south, well, the river valley is still going to get higher end impacts, I think. As for Northwest Arkansas, if that system drops to the south, it's going to be much lower end in terms of the impacts. Well, if it lifts farther north, then the impacts will be much higher. So regardless if it goes north and south, the river valley is going to see pretty substantial impacts. If it lifts to the south for Northwest Arkansas, there'll be less impacts. If it lifts farther to the north, that'll be more impacts. So that's basically the bottom line with this system. It all depends on the track. I love that too, Tracy. Snowman level snow. That's what we're going to use from now on. Is the amount of snow we're going to see be enough to allow us to see snow in our snowmen in our area? I think that's just absolutely fantastic. Let's see here. What about let's see here. Sent you pictures on Messenger. Okay, I'm gonna keep an eye on that. What is keeping this low pressure system so south? Well, this system is diving off to the south through the Baja region of Mexico, Shannon, and it's digging south, so it's becoming cut off. And what happens is when a system comes cut off like this, it has a tendency to lag to the south. So you can see this big surge of energy as moving towards this little bend in Mexico. This is the Baja California region of Mexico. And anytime a system digs this far south, it typically hugs the Gulf of Mexico because it will eventually surge to the east. It will follow the jet stream pattern. But with this particular storm system, because you're starting to see more of a cutoff low here, that's going to allow that system to stay south and move east rather than going south and then surging off to the east along the Red River, which is a more favorable setup for significant snowfall in Northwest Arkansas. So hopefully that answers your question. The cutoff low setup, when it cuts off this quickly, typically favors more snow in central and southern portions of Arkansas. This is how they get their big snows south of our weather coverage area. Yeah, Daniel, I think Hot Springs, Arkansas is definitely going to get some snow. I think you might get a significant amount of snow in Hot Springs, Arkansas. That's my old stopping grounds right there. So I'll go ahead and get ready there in central and southern Arkansas. All right, Highway 71 is slick right now. So Highway 71 in and around Springdale. A lot of reports coming in that there's some impacts on the roadways. iDrive Arkansas is not showing that at this time, but again, it's not perfect. And obviously, this is kind of a snow that some people were maybe not expecting as much. So maybe it's lagging behind just a little bit. But I'm looking at the iDrive Arkansas cameras. This is very close to the exit that you take to get on 71B. I mean, this is about 4 miles away from 71B, I would say, maybe 3 miles. This particular camera is, and it's not showing anything right now in Springdale, at least in this particular stretch of the interstate. Now, if I go a little bit farther east towards just east of Springdale, this is near Beaver Lake. You're not seeing a whole lot going on there. Unfortunately, there's not a camera along Highway 71B. So that's why we're not able to see it. Now, this camera, this one has a little bit more in terms of, you can see a little bit of snow on the side of the road there along the interstate. I'm going to move this mouse out of the way here so you can see that. But that camera is showing a little bit of snow on the side of the roads. Not necessarily on the interstate, but maybe some on the side roads there. So a little bit of light snow moving across the interstate there near Johnson. So that's the first camera that's really depicted anything at all. Here's another look at a camera. This is near Garland Avenue, Fulbright Expressway. You can see a little bit of snow on grassy surfaces there. Weddington Drive. Not a whole lot showing up there near Weddington Drive. Let's go a little bit farther south. Let's go near Greenland. I was getting a report of some light snow in Greenland. You can see a little bit there on the grassy surfaces. Let's go just off to the north here, mile marker 59.4, just off to the north of Razorback Road. This is South Fayetteville, not showing anything there. North side of Fayetteville, again, Garland Avenue. A little bit of light snow on the grassy surfaces there. So, again, some light snow moving through our area, not showing up on radar because the snow is developing below the beam. And if you are seeing snow in your area, it could cause some minor travel issues, especially on Highway 71. So I appreciate everybody getting the reports because I can't see it. I can't see it on these cameras, so it makes it a struggle. Now, here's a good picture that I just got in from Kinsey. I'm going to show this here on the webcam. This is near Greenland. So this is near the Greenland area, and you can see some of that very fluffy snow moving across the interstate. So it has a tendency to blow across the road. And this is why it usually causes minor travel impacts. This is like pretty much the best type of winter weather you can get, snow that's powdery and very fluffy like that, because it tends to drift off of the roadways rather than piling up on the road. So it can still be slick. You still need to take it nice and easy if you're running into the stuff, but it's not as impactful as, let's say, a wet snow that can make things icy and slick and hazardous. It doesn't pile up as easily. So let's see here. Sorry, just now getting to listen in. I have a kiddo coming back to Fayetteville from East Texas. What are your recommendations for traveling, tomorrow or Saturday? Susan, they should come up tomorrow. Allow them to come up tomorrow. I know it's a little bit early for the students to come back, but if you're traveling from East Texas to Fayetteville, I think they need to travel back in tomorrow because there could be some major impacts, not only in the River Valley and Southwest Arkansas and even areas of Northwest Arkansas, but there could be major impacts in Eastern Texas as well. Freezing rain, certainly a concern in those areas. So I would go ahead and tell them they probably need to get going tomorrow, and just to be on the safe side, because who knows, Saturday there could be some problem spots on the roads because you got to travel all the way from East Texas. They could have some big impacts there. They don't have as many resources to counteract some of this stuff. Let's see here. Oh, the roads should be fine this evening. Roads should be fine this evening, Maggie. No worries at all. This light snow that we're seeing right now, it's fluffy. It will evaporate very quickly once the sun comes back out later on this afternoon. So no issues on the roads. It's not heavy enough to cause long-term issues on the roads. What about traveling back Sunday? Traveling back Sunday should be good, I think, Ella. I think traveling back Sunday should be fine. By that point, we'll have temperatures above freezing, I think, in a lot of spots. The road crews will have time to plow this out of the way. I think Sunday should be fine. What about Branson and Springdale on Friday? So Branson may have a slightly higher chance of some heavier snow than Springdale. But regardless, I do think the bulk of the snowfall is going to stay south of that. This is going to be more of a central southern Arkansas system in terms of big-time impacts. I still think there will be snow in Branson and Springdale on Friday, Julie. On the roadways, obviously, of course. I think most of the snow is going to start moving out by the time we get to Friday morning. Friday afternoon, all of it should be out of our area. But in terms of significant impacts, it's uncertain for those areas. There's a difference. Not saying there won't be impacts in Branson, Springdale, Fayetteville, Bentonville, but major, major, major impacts, not going to be a problem with the system, I think. At least right now, looking at the latest details for Branson and Springdale. But that could change as we get some more high resolution data in. Josh, are you thinking it might be dangerous from the Fort to Fayetteville on Thursday? Depends on what time you're leaving, Tracy. Thursday morning is going to be fine. Thursday afternoon into the evening hours, especially during the evening hours, things could start getting a little bit dicey, especially in those mountains. It's a very dangerous stretch of interstate right there, that's for sure. Thompson and Don Tyson is a mess currently. A mess right now. Let's see what's going on here, Don Tyson. So here's Don Tyson. I'm pulling that up right now. This is the Don Tyson camera from iDrive Arkansas. Now this is the main interstate. So the main interstate shouldn't have any issues. The side roads may be having some problems, but again, I can't see that. Now, I'm looking at the parking lot there near Northwest Arkansas Children's Hospital. If you look on the bottom left side of your screen, there is maybe a little bit of light accumulation there on the parking lot and the side roads, but this type of snow is not going to be highly impactful throughout the day today. It shouldn't be highly impactful throughout the day. It's a powdery snow. It's a light, fluffy snow. It should be drifting through the roads. It looks bad, looks worse than what it probably actually is. That's the thing about these light snows like this. It looks worse than what it actually is. Not to say that you should drive like a madman on them. You should definitely drive slower than what you usually would if you're running into these snow showers this morning in Northwest Arkansas. But it's likely not very icy. It looks like it is, but it's not. And take it from me, I drove through the snow Monday morning to get to work from Bella Vista to Fayetteville, and it was heavier than what's going on right now, and it was on the roadways, and I had no issues at all because I was driving well below the speed limit. That's the thing about snow. If you drive below the speed limit, especially with snow like this, you're going to be fine. Now, when you start talking about that wet, icy snow, when you start seeing a little bit of refreezing and stuff like that, now that can cause some issues, and that can make it a struggle. So again, I appreciate everybody giving reports on that, but take it nice and easy on the roadways. Take it nice and easy. You should be fine. Will I have any trouble getting to Kansas City for a dance competition on Friday? So, Kelly, where are you located? It depends on where you're located. I think if you are in portions of southwest Missouri and far northwestern Arkansas, traveling northbound to Kansas City, you should be fine. If you're traveling southbound, that's going to be an issue. But just let me know where you're located. Friday morning could be very dicey. Again, I'm seeing more comments here. I don't have cameras there, so I don't have the information. So I'm sorry, folks. Okay, so here's a picture in from Lisa. This is from Springdale by Don Tyson. So I finally got a picture. Thank you so much, Lisa, for sending this in. So I'm going to show the picture that she sent me. So this is near Don Tyson in Springdale. So there's a look at the picture. So notice in this picture here, I'm going to try to zoom in. I know it's kind of hard to see. But notice in the picture here, you can kind of see how the snow is kind of drifting across the roadway. That's that powdery snow that I was talking about. That powdery snow tends to drift across the road. So when it drifts across the road like that, typically you see less in terms of the snow piling up and more of it drifting off of the road. So if you take it nice and easy on those roadways, you should be okay this morning. Let's see here. Welcome to Arkansas weather. One day it was 70 and now it's 25 degrees a week later. That's pretty much the name of the game. And I do blame Perry for that, by the way, because when Perry was still here, it was nice and warm here in Northwest Arkansas in the River Valley. Then he goes on vacation and comes back, and it's just a mess. I was in that area. It took me forever to get through. So bad on the roads there. I sent Dan pictures through Messenger. It was so slick. Can you send me those pictures, Leah? Because I can't see them. I don't have access to Dan's stuff, so I can't see them, unfortunately. I mean, isn't this forecast so much better than those nasty severe storms we see in spring? I mean, it's definitely, I think severe storms that we saw back in spring were absolutely awful. They're definitely much easier to forecast. Severe weather is way easier to forecast. Winter weather is a disaster, and what's happening right now is the reason why I can't stand winter weather, to be honest. You get no grace when it comes to it. You get no leeway from people, and it's just tough. It really does do a number on the mental health. I got to be honest with you. I know I kind of sound a little bit ranty here. Social media has made it a struggle to forecast this stuff the correct way. All these social media accounts, they hype things up. They release stuff days out, days in advance, and then it changes, and then people call you all these horrible things and stuff like that. And I'm human too. I'm a human being too. That's all I got to say. I didn't know it's easier to forecast severe stuff. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Tracy. It is easier to forecast severe weather because the dynamics in the atmosphere at this latitude are much easier. You can kind of, see it's much easier to figure out the dynamics of the system. It's much easier to figure out, the moisture that's in place. You can see the jet stream pattern and stuff like that. All that in general plays a big role in severe weather, and all that's kind of set in stone going into the event. Really, the main thing with severe weather that is a struggle is sometimes the forcing for storms and sometimes the storm mode and storm type, and that can sometimes throw a curveball in severe weather setups, and that can sometimes limit severe weather potential. Whereas with snow, you got to focus on the track. You got to focus on the temperature. You've got to forecast on the timing. Accumulations can vary from location to location. You got to worry about wind. You got to worry about freezing rain, sleet, snow, different winter precipitation types. There's all these different variables with winter weather. All these different variables with winter weather. So Lisa said that she hydroplaned going like 15 miles per hour in Springdale. So again, I'm looking at it. When you go up hills and stuff like that, it can definitely be a bit of a struggle. And there is a lot of hills in the Springdale area, so that can cause some problems. I'm wondering too, and Colby Ward just texted me this. He's wondering if this could be lake effect snow in portions of Northwest Arkansas. And, that might actually be the case right now. We saw a similar scenario where we didn't have it in the forecast. This was about 3 or 4 years ago. And there ended up being snow in portions of Northwest Arkansas near the lake. And that was because we had some lake effect snow that occurred in the north side of Fayetteville and near Springdale. You know what, folks? I think Colby Ward's onto something. I don't know if Colby is currently on this live stream right now, but he's the one who just texted me this. Let's take a look at this. This might be the setup that we're seeing. So remember, we've got bodies of water. We've got Beaver Lake, right? Beaver Lake is just off to the east of Springdale, just off the north side of Washington County, southern side of Benton County, which is where the snow is being observed. You've got warm water and cold land. So the water is much warmer than the land right now because we're very cold here in portions of Northwest Arkansas. So cold air goes across that water. It allows for evaporation to occur. It also allows for near instant condensation because of how cold it is and how low those dew points are. And then you get this lake effect snow in an isolated area. It drifts off the lake. These clouds drift across the lake. This light snow drifts across the lake. And that's how you can get lake effect snow in Northwest Arkansas. It's the same thing that happens up in Buffalo, of course, at a much larger scale because of how big the lakes are. But that's probably what we're seeing in Northwest Arkansas right now. And again, we've got the lakes. We got this body of water right here. I'm going to show you on Megadoppler. Of course, you can't see the precipitation itself on Megadoppler, but there's that body of water right there. And I think we're starting to see maybe a little bit of that light snow drift across north side of Fayetteville, south side of Springdale. And it's not even making it to the interstate. It's only making it to Highway 71, and it's only making it to Don Tyson before it stops. U.S. Highway 412 experiencing some of that snow as well. So I think that's what's happening right now, folks. I think Colby's onto something. I'm going to give him a shout out right now. Colby texted me this, and I think we're seeing some lake effect snow right now in and around Springdale, Johnson, and Fayetteville. So, man, that's interesting. And it makes sense. And that's why we're seeing these localized impacts in these areas. So there it is right there from James. Parking lot is white. And this business is right next to Lake Fayetteville. So, man. So if you are on the east side of Johnson, east side of Fayetteville, east side of Springdale, Don Tyson Parkway, you need to take it nice and easy because there is some lake effect snow going on there. I think I could say that with quite a bit of confidence right now, which is crazy. It's crazy, but it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. It's not showing up on radar because it's occurring below the radar beam, but every single report that people are sending in right now is on just off of Beaver Lake. Now, of course, we're not seeing it on Beaver Lake itself right now because it occurs off of the lake, so it drifts off the lake. But that's likely what we're seeing at this time. So I really appreciate everybody sending in reports. And again, I'm managing a lot of things right now. So I apologize if it sounds like, I think maybe people might think I'm downplaying it right now. I'm not downplaying it. It's just that I can't see it visually. And that's why I really appreciate the pictures that are coming in right now because I'm able to actually see what's going on in your area because none of these cameras have it. Not even our, WeatherBug cameras are showing it because it's too far off of the lake. Now, I wonder if the Posey Mountain camera, so getting some light snow flurries in Rogers. So thank you so much for that report, Melissa. And again, I'm really sorry if I sounded like I was downplaying anything. I wasn't trying to do that at all. I was just trying to get some more information because I can't see it on most of these cameras. So it's very hard to kind of get a visual on it. So this is a look at Posey Mountain. And as you can see here, some whites on the trees there, a little bit of white on the trees. So I think we're seeing some lake effect snow right now. Lisa, drive by Beaver Lake to get home, and it looked like steam coming off the lake this morning. So that's the potential lake effect snow that's developing just off of Beaver Lake and drifting off to the west. James just sent me a photo. James, thank you so much there. I'm going to show that here on webcam. So he sent me this photo right here of some snow. And James, where is this located again? You might have already mentioned it. Okay, so he's near Lake Fayetteville. So this is near the Lake Fayetteville area. And I'm going to move that. I'm going to pull that up here. And as you can see, the parking lot right now near Lake Fayetteville, completely white with snow. And that's lake effect snow, folks. Flurries and Bentonville. So starting to see flurries in Bentonville. Again, I think this is lake effect snow. I think Colby is onto something. I'm going to give him a shout out right now. I don't think he's on this weather live stream, but again, you're seeing that warmer water. You're seeing that instant condensation with the colder land, and it's drifting off of the water right now into portions of Bentonville, Springdale, and Fayetteville. So, yeah, that's crazy. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But if you're driving in it, make sure you're taking it nice and easy because it can cause some issues on the roadways for sure. Flurries and gravel all morning long, says April. Thank you so much, April, for the report. So, again, some snow showers, light snow flurries being reported this morning in northwest Arkansas, and seeing some travel impacts along Highway 71. Adam says snowing in Little Flock as well. So starting to get some more snow reports right now. So really appreciate everybody sending that in. A little bit of lake effect snow going on in northwest Arkansas right now, far northwestern Arkansas. Keep these reports coming in. Savannah says flurries in Rogers. So I'm going to go to the Rogers Pinnacle Parkway Towers cam and see if we can see anything along the interstate. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to get these reports in from everybody. I really, really appreciate it. So here's our Rogers camera. There's the current temperatures. Very cold, obviously. Snow and flurries in Rogers pretty good at 8:30 this morning. We'll move that to the Rogers camera. And there's a look at the Rogers cam. Again, these snowflakes are very small, so it's going to be kind of hard to see them, I think, on these WeatherBug Network cameras. But if you're traveling along Highway 71, make sure you're taking it nice and easy this morning, folks. Make sure you're taking it nice and easy. Yeah, it's rare. That's funny. Well, if anybody's got any more questions, just go ahead and send them in the comments. I'll be on for another 5 minutes or so. I really appreciate everybody joining in, asking questions, giving the latest details. And yeah, Tracy, thank you so much for letting me know that. And again, that really does mean a lot. It really does mean a lot to me to hear that because I want to do the best job possible for everybody. I love this job so much. I love this community so much. I grew up in Northwest Arkansas. I've lived in Arkansas my whole life. I want to make sure I'm serving it well, and I want to make sure everybody's getting good information. Um, and I just really, really appreciate everybody understanding the forecasting process and giving us some grace throughout these last several days. I mean, we had the snow, this past weekend as well, and early Monday morning. And, it again, just speaking from me personally and stuff like that, I sometimes can have some issues sometimes, with overreacting to negative comments or things like that. And I do apologize if I ever have come off like that in these live streams. I don't want to be that way. I'm always a positive person. And sometimes, those comments can wear you down, over time. It whittles away at you. So I just really appreciate the kind words that people give to us here at the Weather Lab because we really do try our best. Peyton, Zach, Dan, everybody does such a great job here, and I love KNWA and I love Northwest Arkansas so much. So I really appreciate it. So golden retriever. That's pretty much how everybody describes me. Uh, that's pretty much how every single person describes me, Marley. That is for sure. And you know what? Apparently, my dog Harper, which I can show you this right here. That's my puppy Harper right there, which you'll sometimes see on other live streams when I'm streaming from the house. She is just like me for real. She's got all the energy. She loves going outside. She loves just saying hi to everybody, and that's exactly who I am as well. So I just really appreciate it. Timing on the snow coming on Thursday for Huntsville. How much snowfall is expected in Bentonville? A lot of those questions right now. So, Christina and Santana, we're going to have an official snowfall forecast coming up later on this evening. I promise you, Dan's going to be here hammering that out when he gets in. We're going to have a much better idea of what's going on with this event. But I'll tell you this: I think the main time frame for snow is going to be Thursday afternoon into Friday morning. I think that's going to be the main time frame for snow. I think the farther south it needs to go, the more likely you are to run into winter weather impacts. And that's why we have that winter storm watch that is currently in effect for portions of the River Valley right now. Northwest Arkansas not included in that winter storm watch. That's because there's considerable uncertainty in the forecast, but I do anticipate Northwest Arkansas at least being added to a winter weather advisory by the time we get to tomorrow. So just stay tuned there. But if you're in that winter storm watch, you can see snowfall amounts anywhere from 3 to 7 inches. For Northwest Arkansas, right now, I'm forecasting about 1 to 3 inches of snow with the potential for that to go up. If the track of the system is more favorable for Northwest Arkansas, that will go up. As a matter of fact, I can show you this right now. This is a very preliminary look at the snowfall accumulation potential. This is for the River Valley. 3 to 7 inches of snow possible with locally higher amounts. Heavy, wet snow looking likely with that system tracking along the Gulf Coast. For Northwest Arkansas, I'm right now forecasting 1 to 3 inches of snow with very low confidence at this time. And also I have low confidence with the track because, again, that track, when it goes across the Gulf of Mexico, it doesn't tend to favor the heaviest snowfall over NWA. Having said that, the precipitation type, lighter snow likely, and Thursday afternoon into Friday morning is looking like the main time frame for snow. Let's see here. Do you remember that one year we were only supposed to get a little snow, but ended up with the most instead? My boys made forts. We got so much. And again, Melissa, it's because of the track. If that track is farther north by, I'm telling you, 100 miles, Northwest Arkansas is going to get hammered. So take this forecast with a grain of salt right now. This is going to be adjusted. We're going to fine tune this forecast, and we're going to let you know about all the latest details. So my husband just landed in Texas for work, and he flies back Thursday night. What are the chances he actually makes it back to Northwest Arkansas? So Becca, if you travel down to Dallas, it could be dicey. They could have some issues there, I'll be honest with you. I don't necessarily think it's a question of getting into NWA, though that could be a problem too. But I'm more concerned about Texas itself, Becca, and the impacts that he could see there, especially if he's flying into Dallas-Fort Worth. I'm telling you, North Texas, this could be their system. This could be a system they remember for a long, long time in those areas. That's for sure. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We have got over 2,000 people here on the live stream right now. Really, really appreciate you guys again. Thank you guys so much for giving us grace, for allowing us to have some patience in terms of the forecast. We're going to continue to fine tune this as we move throughout the next 24 to 48 hours. I promise you, we're going to keep you posted on the latest details. But again, if you're in Northwest Arkansas right now, if you're experiencing that lake effect snow that's going on in Springdale, Fayetteville, and Bentonville, take it nice and easy on the roadways, especially along Highway 71. We will continue to keep you posted on that. Take it nice and easy on the roads there. Stay tuned to latest details right here on KNWA, and we will see you later on tonight, starting at 5 o'clock p.m. with Chief Meteorologist Dan Scott, who is back in town, getting a little bit of that Baja Blast energy right back here into KNWA. But I'm going to look one more time through the comments here, make sure I got to just about everybody here. Let's see here. Absolutely, Becca. Yeah. Hopefully he's able to get out of there. But we'll keep you posted. We'll keep you posted, Becca. I promise you. We'll have more weather live streams coming up over the next few days. Stay safe and warm, everyone. And yes, Tracy, really, really appreciate those kind words right there. She's ready in the River Valley. Everybody in the River Valley is ready. I think that's all the comments right there. Thank you guys so much once again. God bless you, and have a terrific rest of your Tuesday.